Hey everybody, and welcome into a fun and exciting pre-algebra class. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. We're going to learn a lot of things this year, so just hang on. In the book, you should have pre-algebra book from Abeka Books. That's what we're using. We're going to start in lesson 1, chapter 1, right? That's the best place to start. So that is actually on page number 2. How do they do that? I don't know. Should start on page 1, but it starts on page number 2. So you can go ahead and open up there, and we're going to be talking about the fundamentals or the foundation of arithmetic. Like, what are the basic things of arithmetic? And maybe you're like, I thought this was pre-algebra. What's going on? I thought we were going to get into all kinds of different algebra things. We will, okay? So be patient. But we have to go through and make sure that we understand the basics of math before we can start building up. I'm going to cut over to an old video that I recorded. It'll explain all of the lesson, and then I'll be back at the end to summarize it. So let's talk about this. What is this group of 3? This group of 3 is the hundreds. Okay, so these numbers are all in the hundreds. Now, not technically, we're going to talk about that a little bit, but that's the hundreds area. Okay, this group of 3, this is the thousands. Okay, these are in the thousands spot. And then this group of 3 over here are in the millions. Okay, so 3 groups of 3, and they each have place value. This first group of numbers is in the hundreds grouping. The second group of numbers is in the thousands grouping. And the third group of numbers is in the millions grouping. Now, let's talk about that a little bit more in depth, okay? So let's go back to the big number, and let's talk about inside of the hundreds group, what does each one of these mean, okay? Because each number means something. I'll just stop right there, okay? So what is the 9, okay? The 9 is in the ones place. That's the 1. And hopefully this will all make sense in a second. And I started with a big number for a reason. I'm going to come back and simplify it in just a second. The 8 is in the tens place, and the 7 is in the hundreds. Okay, so that's these are the hundreds numbers. Okay, now the next group of numbers, and I'll change the color for these guys. We'll go with purple here. So 6, 5, and 4. The 6 is in the thousands. The 5 is in the, now watch this, it's almost like the 1,000 and the 1 kind of match up together. Because the 5 and the 8 match up together. Because watch this, this is in the 10,000s. And the 4 matches with the hundreds. So watch this. Now this is the 100,000s. Okay? Got it all in there. So look, the 6 and the 1s are kind of similar. And notice where their positioning is. See, this is the first number after the comma, and this is the first number. So look, this 3 is going to match up with that. So what's this 3 going to look like? This 3... is going to be in the, remember, the ones, the thousands, and this was the millions. Okay? The 2 is going to match up with the second number here, the tens and the 10,000s. So this one is going to be the 10 millions. And then the 1 is going to match up with the 4 and the 7 because it's the third number over in the set. And this is going to be the 100 millions. All right, so I know that's a lot of information to kind of take in, but if you're used to this, if you've done it before, then it should be no problem because you understand the sequence. But these are, and I called these the hundreds, and these maybe could be called the ones, but these are the basic numbers. These are the ones before you start jumping to thousands, millions, billions, things like that. Okay? So the ones, tens, hundreds. And it's important that you kind of know this progression right here. Ones, tens, hundreds. Because look, it does it again. Thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Then it does it again. Millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. The next group of numbers, if we kept going with this and we wrote something else, like, or whatever, we write something else over here, it's going to do the same things, but these ones are billions. Okay, millions after millions is billions. And then trillions would be next, and it goes on from there. But we're going to start with this grouping of numbers. I told you the reason why I wrote these all differently is with a different number is because I want to be able to just say a number like 5 and for you to say, oh, that's in the 10,000 spot. So if I say, what place value is the number 3? You would say 3 is in the millions spot. What place value is 8? Well, 8 is in the tens spot. Okay? All right, now let's go ahead and go to another one, and let's go to, I'll just write any random number. So let's write 5,731. That's our number. Now, it's not as big as this one, but we always start with the ones. So in other words, the 1 is in the ones. So this would be ones. The 3 is going to be in the tens, and the 7 is in the hundreds. I won't write the whole thing out. The 5 is in the thousands. Okay? And we would keep going, but we always start with the ones. Hopefully that makes sense to you, because you always start with 1. Okay, so we're going to start with the ones. And then I could write any number that I wanted. So if I write the number 3, it's only got one number, so 3 is in the ones. It's in the ones spot. Now, hopefully this makes sense to you. So let's talk about it just a little bit more, and then I want to do what's called rounding off. So let's say I have 43. Notice when you say 40, that is like saying the number 40. 40 is the tens, and 3 is the ones. So you're saying 40 plus 3. Wow. That's really what you're saying. 43. So you're saying 43. Here's what you're saying. You're saying 40 is in the tens and 3 is in the ones. 43. 40, 4 tens and 3 ones. Okay? So make sure that you go back and memorize this right here. That's very important that you understand that place value. Very, very important. All right, now, let's say that I want to round off a number. What does it mean to round off a number? It kind of means to take it to the next closest number. For example, the number 9 is very close to the number 10. Okay? So 9 would round off to 10. Why do we want to round off numbers? Let's say we have a number like 799. Well, 799 is very close to 800, right? Okay, so sometimes you may want to round off 799 to 800. Now, here's what we do. We say, here's another 100. 700 is another 100. Which one is it closer to? Is 799 closer to 700, or is 799 closer to 800? Well, 799 is much closer to 800. Maybe this is what it would look like if we wrote it like this. This would be 799. It's very close to 800. There's lots of numbers in here. There's lots of numbers before we go to 700. There's 701, 702, 703. We have lots of numbers before we get to 799. So, which one does 799 round off to? It rounds off to 800. It doesn't round off to 700. So if you tell your mom, like let's say that you want to buy something, and what you want to buy costs 300. Let's do it in dollars. Let's make it cheaper. So it costs $3.99. So what do you tell your mom? Mom, it only cost $3. It's only $3. You're lying to your mom. It doesn't cost $3, okay? It costs $3.99. What does 99 round off to? It rounds off to 100. What does this round off to? It rounds off to $4. The thing that you want to buy costs $4, not $3, okay? So don't round off down all the time. And I know we do that when we want something, right? Yeah, you tell mom it's only $3. Okay, lying. Stop lying, okay? So we need to learn math so we don't tell lies. So it is closer to $4, so we need to tell mom, Mom, it's only $4. Okay, yes, it's $3.99, but it's only $4 because it's closer to $4. So how do we do this? What's the trick to rounding off? Well, here's the trick to rounding off. What we want to do is we want to do, if a number is from 0 to 4, okay, then we round down. This is going to make sense in a second. If the number is 5 through 9, then we round up. Okay, so 47. Round that number off to the nearest 10. So what we do is we look at our place value, and our place value says the 4 is in the tens. So I'm doing, let me write this, nearest 10. Okay, so let me actually not write it like this, 10. We want to round to the nearest 10. So now we say which one is in the 10 spot. Well, 4 is in the 10 spot, right? Remember that? The second one. So this one is the ones. The 4 is in the tens. So what I want you to do is the first step is we're going to underline what we're rounding it to. We're rounding it to the nearest 10, so we're going to underline the nearest 10. The nearest 10 is 4. Well, the 10 is 4, okay? It might not be the nearest. We're going to check that out in a second. So step number 1, underline the desired place value. All right, what is the desired place value? It's the 10. That's what we're looking for. So we're going to underline the 10. The 4 is in the 10 spot. All right, step number 2. What's the second thing we want to do? The second thing we want to do here is we want to look at the number to the right. Look at the number to the right. What do I mean by that? Let's look at his next door neighbor to the right side. So what's the 4's next door neighbor to the right side? It's the 7. So look next door and say, hey, what's going on, neighbor? And we say 7. All right, so now what do we do? After we look to the next door neighbor, we round up or down. Round up or down. All right, what do I mean by that? I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Now look, right here. Here's round up or down. Remember, if it's a 0 to 4, if the neighbor is 0 to 4, we round down. Another way of saying round down is we could say keep the same. Round down or keep the same. Now, this number, the next door neighbor, is a 7, so it is between a 5 and a 9. So what do? We round up. What does that mean? Well, when we round up, that means that this 4 goes up to a 5. Okay? The 4 goes up to a 5, not the 7. Okay, not the neighbor. This is the number that we're looking at. This is the nearest 10. It goes up to a 7. All the other numbers, all right, this is step number 4. This is the last step. All numbers to the right become zeros. All numbers to the right become zeros. So this 7 right here now becomes a 0. So our number is 50. That is the correct answer. We rounded 47 up to 50. All right, now we're going to go through that process one more time. And this is where maybe you'll need to rewind this. If this is new information for you, you might need to rewind this multiple times even to watch this to kind of get it all. So let's do it one more time. Let's put a new number up here. And we're going to change this to the nearest 10. We're going to change this to the nearest 100. Okay, so we're going to do it just a little bit different this time. And let's put a number up there. Let's put 348. Okay. Now here's what we want to do. We want to follow our little steps. Underline the desired place value. So what is the desired place value? We want to go to the 100. So we're going to underline the 100. Remember, ones, tens, hundreds. Okay, ones, tens, hundreds. So this is our desired place value. That's the hundreds place. Now, we go to step 2. Look at the number to the right. We're looking at his next door neighbor. Do not look over here. We don't want that number. We're not interested in that number. We want to look to the number to the right, immediately to the right, the next door neighbor. Okay? So his next door neighbor is a 4. Now look, a 4 is between 0 and 4. So what do? We round down. Now, some students get confused by this because they want to go down. So they want to take the 3 to a 2. The 3 doesn't go to a 2. Round down means keep it the same. Okay? So we want to keep the 3 the same. So our number is just going to be 3. We leave the 3 alone. When we do this, we keep it the same. Keep it the same. Why do we keep it the same? Because the neighbor was a 4. Look, the 4 means keep it the same. All right, we're almost done. Now look at the last step. All numbers to the right become zeros. All numbers to the right become zeros. So this 4 becomes a 0 and this 8 becomes a 0. Do. Okay? Now, rounded to the nearest 100, 300. That was a little bit longer of a lesson than I'm normally going to have. Normally the lessons in this are going to be 12 to 15 minutes and we'll be out. But this first lesson had a bunch of stuff in it. Hopefully you were able to kind of understand a lot of that, place value and rounding off and all that good stuff. And maybe you were like, that was so boring, I already know all that stuff. That's awesome, okay? So just work hard, do your practice problems, and then it's going to get harder, trust me. Okay, so keep working hard, keep doing your best, keep watching these videos, and you will see the material as we continue to go on just kind of get more and more complicated and be things that you haven't seen before. But in this review, pay attention, make sure that you're doing your best, do those practice problems, and I think you'll have great success. All right, that's all I've got for you. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.